Welcome to my appraisal of the scientific article Greenhouse Gas Mitigation Can Reduce Sea Ice Loss and Increase Polar Bear Persistence. In December 2010, a group of researchers published an article discussing greenhouse gas reduction and the effects on polar bear populations in the Arctic regions. Polar bears occur only in the northern hemisphere and are dependent upon the sea ice for access to their prey. Observed declines in summer sea ice have been associated with declining physical stature and condition and poorer survival and declining population size. Global warming and its anticipated effects of loss of sea ice was the principal driver of polar bear declines projected by the research team's studies. On the basis of projected losses of the bear's essential icy habitats, a United States Geological Survey research team concluded in 2007 that 2/3 of the world's polar bears could disappear by mid-century if business as usual or unchanged greenhouse gas emissions continue. The researchers recorded the relationships between temperature and the sea ice habitat by evaluating the relationships between global mean surface air temperature change, or GMAT. GMAT change was calculated as the difference between the mean temperatures of 1980 to 1999 and the future temperatures which were projected by the Community Climate System Model version 3. This graph represents the September sea ice extent over a 100-year period. The business as usual greenhouse gas emissions graph plot, shown in red, demonstrates the rapidly decreasing sea ice. In the 2020 commitment realisation, greenhouse gas concentrations followed the business as usual scenario until 2020 and were fixed thereafter. This image shows the current distribution of polar bears in the Arctic regions. The darker areas demonstrate a higher density of polar bears, and the lighter areas have a lower density. With the projected changes to climate change after 2020, it is predicted that less sea ice will melt, securing not only the polar bear's survival, but the survival of other animals living in the Arctic ecosystem similarly. In September 2012, Ian Sterling and Andrew E. DeRocha published the findings of a similar study conducted, entitled The Effects of Climate Warming on Polar Bears. The two researchers documented how the loss of sea ice negatively affected the polar bear's long-term survival. The study found that with receding ice, the bears have less access to seal hunting areas, and therefore forcing them to fast when they should be accumulating energy. Denning areas are also decreased, and the overall survival rates of both cubs and older bears are declining. These facts, along with the fact that there are very few alternatives to living on the ice, could push one of the world's most iconic animal species, the polar bear, into extinction.